Alright guys, welcome back to another fantasy fishing show here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Today's fantasy fishing show is not like the other one. So as you can tell, I'm by myself today. I don't have the crew with me. They're all fishing all kinds of tournaments, getting ready for tournaments on the road, travel, and all that kind of fun stuff. So today, I'm going to do a little bit different breakdown and a little bit more detail on the picks that I'm making for fantasy fishing this week. This week we're at Lake Fork. You know, Lake Fork is an impoundment around Dallas, Texas. Has some gigantic bass. I mean, I think there was a record broken the other day in a big bass tournament. A 15-pound bass was caught there. So not really sure what to expect as far as size of fish, but I can tell you one thing, guys. These guys are going to absolutely blast them this week on Lake Fork. They're catching big ones right now. They're catching big ones on swim baits, big worms. The fish are starting to transition slightly. I think they're finishing up spawning. They're going to go a little more post-spawn and be kind of that weird transition. So definitely still going to be a lot of fish still shallow. Still be a lot of fish on beds and things like that as well. But I'm telling you right now, guys, the post-spawners are going to be what wins this event. So I haven't even made my picks yet. I'm going to make my picks in front of you, as you can tell right there. So here, let's go ahead and break it down. I'm going to make my picks for you exactly when I do. So let's look at this real quick. So who do we have? Group A. We have Hank Cherry, Jason Christie, Cook, Cox, Hackney. I picked Hackney the last few times, and I think Hackney's going to have a good event there. But, I mean, the obvious pick here is Lee Livesay. I mean, no question about it. The guy guided on that lake and has guided on that lake for years and years. Definitely has an upper hand on this field in Group A, even though you've got guys like Patrick Walters that won there the last time we were there. So I really think Lee Livesay is easily the best pick in that group for me, especially coming off a really good event at the Sabine River. Dark horses, like I said before, we won't do dark horses, but I'll give you an alternative pick that I think will be very, very solid. And I'm going to go Seth Fighter. Fighter has been on fire lately. I think he's going to have a good tournament here at Lake Fork. So just go and be expecting that one. So let's go into Group B. Let's see what we got here. You know, we got Stetson Blaylock. Definitely has a history there. Brandon Cobb. I mean, definitely is an easy pick there as well. But I'm going to kind of go off the radar just a little bit here. Let's make sure that the person that I'm thinking of isn't in this group, and he's not. So we're actually going to go with Ray Hanselman. You know, I've got to make up some points, as you saw probably when I scrolled up to the top. I haven't had the very best of fantasy year. I had a couple duds that, you know, had a bad tournament. And we all have bad tournaments from time to time. So it's definitely one of those bad events for me as far as that goes. But guys, this particular section in Group B is probably one of the hardest picks of all of them. So I'm looking at Group B. I see guys like Buddy Gross, which is a super solid pick. I mean, especially going post-spawn bass. This fish starting to move offshore. Brandon Cobb, obviously. I mean, he has a history there. Stetson Blaylock, history there. I don't know if you can really go. Scott Martin is in this group. And, I mean, he's coming off back-to-back top 35s. I think he's going to be hard to beat as well. But seeing who Ray Hanselman is and knowing the way he likes to fish, I think Hanselman could have a really good event here. So let's go ahead and go back up. We're going to go to Group C. Who do we got in Group C? We got Drew Benton is coming off a second-place finish at Douglas Lake. Definitely a strong pick. Scott Canterbury is a good pick. But, you know, there's actually one person in particular that I think is going to have a good event here, and that person is Clark Winlet. You know, Clark has a history in Texas. I think he's going to have a good tournament here. I feel pretty solid about him catching some big bass there at Lake Fork. So I'm definitely going with the hometown or home state fisherman with Clark Winlet. I think that's a pretty easy pick as far as I'm concerned. Or, you know, obviously Keith Combs. Actually, I might change my pick, guys. I'm going Keith Combs. Who I was looking for this whole time. So I've got to scroll back down. So in case you didn't know how to use fantasy fishing, I'm kind of giving a breakdown exactly how to use it. So when you select somebody and you don't want them, you just go hit the minus sign. You scroll all the way back up to the person you want. And we're going Keith Combs at 40%. And there's a reason Keith Combs is owned at 40%. The guy's an offshore master. He will have a good tournament at this event. And no questions asked. But if you do want to make up some of those point totals, go with Clark Winlet. I think he's going to have a good tournament as well. So let's go Group D. Group D is a very interesting group. It's full of hammers and some guys that have just had a bad start to the year for the most part. You got guys like Frank Talley. He's from Temple, Texas at 20.6% owned. There's a lot of guys here that have had good tournaments. Chad Pipkins is coming off a really strong Pickwick Lake event, and that's a hard one to beat. The one that I like here, though, and it's a sneakier pick. I like him here. He's coming off of kind of a tougher start to the season. He has one top 135, and like I said before, guys, I got to make up some points, so I'm picking lesser-owned fishermen in this group. I'm going Carl Jocumsen. And the reason I'm going Carl Jocumsen is the fact that he is a big bait chunker. I think this is going to be a glide bait, big swim bait event. I truly believe that if anybody can figure it out, it is that guy right there. Look for Carl Jocumsen to come out swinging out the gate here at Lake Fork. I mean, obviously another solid pick would be Frank Talley. I really like the Chad Pipkins pick, though. I was about this close from picking Chad Pipkins. I don't know if y'all remember the last time they were at a post-spawn event at that particular lake, and Pipkins absolutely put on a show, caught him on a crankbait, a Demiki crankbait, and just went to work on him. But like I said before, I really like the Jocumsen pick just for the fact that I think this is going to be a big, big swim bait tournament, and I know he's very confident in that regard. So Group E is always that one that kind of gets me, and I think it gets a lot of people when you start looking at trying to make that perfect pick. So, you look down the list, you got Gary Klaus, Rick Klun, Fritz, Daryl Gleason, Dale Hightower, Kyle Monsey, Jason Williamson. There's a lot of guys in this group, and one in particular that I'm surprised to see in this group is Chris Zaldane. And there's a reason he's owned at 61%. I'm picking him. I don't care if he's 5% or 60%. In this group, he is absolutely the guy to own in Group E. No questions asked. He is going to blast them. He's coming off a pretty, lackluster start of the season. Typical, like an atypical Chris Zaldane thing. He wants to make the Bassmaster Classic this year, and he's got to put his foot down and get that gas rolling for the rest of the season. It's been a slow start, but I have faith in Chris Zaldane that he's going to pick it back up in the tail end of the season. Now, one of our favorite things to do here is to pick pounds and ounces. So in this particular case, will they break the century mark at Lake Fork? Absolutely. No questions asked. It's just by how much. I'm going to say 116 pounds is my guess there. I really think that they break 116. I'm going 116 even. I think it's going to be a good event. I think they're going to catch them here. And flat out, guys, y'all need to be ready for a big-time event at Lake Fork. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Andrew Upshaw Fishing. I'm doing daily tip videos at noon every single day, as well as posting all tournaments that I fish on the Bassmaster Open. So if you get a chance, check out all of that great content. And one thing importantly, Bassmaster.com has all the greatest fishing information that you can have, and Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing is definitely one of those things that I've enjoyed the heck out of the last couple of years playing this stuff and rooting for my buddies that are fishing out there on the big show.